Hey guys, Mavella here again, back with another episode. I'm Tammy.
And I'm Manui.
And this time we're going to be talking about comparing yourself in the lash industry specifically. Obviously, this can be general too, but we're going to talk about more like specifically in the lash industry. When we first started, we would compare ourselves a lot. And there's this one saying that I always hear, it's comparison is the thief of joy. And it's so true. Constantly, if you keep comparing yourself on like within your journey, again, whatever that is in life, but right now in your like lash journey, I just feel like you'll end up really unhappy and really upset and really just like down all the time. And that's something that we actually did in the beginning ourselves. And we can still have moments where we do that because it's such a human, natural thing. But yeah, we're just gonna dive into that for this episode.
Yeah, we're just going to talk about comparing yourself to other lash businesses and how it is a normal thing and to not feel guilty about it, or more on how to overcome it and not let that affect you. Because I know for us, when we first started, and I think anybody that first starts lashing, they're always comparing to somebody who has 3, 4, 5 years experience. And like with us, we sell products and trainings, and more in the past, not so much anymore because we've learned to like cope with it or just to accept it. We would look at like bigger lash brands that have like big followings and have amazing trainings and have a huge product line, and we would always look at them and be like, oh my gosh, like we're obviously so happy for them, but there's that little bit of like jealousy, but not a jealousy where it's like
We want them to
we
go
want them
down
to go
and
down.
we
It's
want to
not
go
like
up.
that.
Yeah.
We just look at them and we're like, oh, we wish we were you.
Yeah, I even had that too, like even just as a lash artist though. Like
Yeah.
before Mavella even started, I feel like my second month I was already looking at people who've been in the industry for
Yeah.
like
And their
5 years. And their work is so clean and
Yeah.
good. And obviously when you're a beginner, that's when you're kind of like not the best just yet. And it's like it's like it can be a really like toxic mindset to have, and it's a very discouraging type of mindset because you just want to be like somebody who's been in the industry way longer, and we're all on different journeys, and I think it's just like not a good thing, and it's so important to just focus on yourself and your own journey, and not focus so much on what other people are doing, but almost take that as like encouragement or take that as like motivation to continue like kind of reframing it and turning it into more of like a more positive mindset and looking at things like that and using that as
Yeah,
inspo.
I know for us, like, for example, like there's still times where we have like a slow week compared to the last week or compared to the last month. We'll have a slower month. We'll have a month that's like really big and we get a lot of sales. And there's always gonna be moments where we think to ourselves, oh, like we didn't do as good as we did last month, or we didn't do as good as we did last week or yesterday. And
Especially after like the holiday season or like
yeah,
the summer season where
or
it's
like
like
Black
your
Friday,
peak.
it's like
Yeah.
crazy. And like even for like you guys who are lash artists, if you're a lash artist watching this, you're gonna be so busy like around Christmas time and stuff because everybody is on holidays and like there's so
Wants
many
to get their
family
lashes.
there's so many family occasions coming up and stuff, and they want to get their lashes done. And the thing is like you don't want to have to compare yourself to somebody else just because you're on your own journey. And I think that's something that we've had to come with like to acceptance with is in comparing ourselves is actually just
Doesn't do
it doesn't
anything
do
for
anything
you.
for us. It actually just puts you in a really bad mood. You're really upset. You're sitting there, you're sulking, you're just down, and it's just because you've been comparing yourself. So instead, for us, we actually use our slow weeks as like encouragement to
Motivation.
and motivation to actually figure out, okay, we're having a slow week, which means we have more time. What can we do to fill up our week because it's a little bit slow? So is there something that we're not doing? And we'll look at like other brands, and like we don't copy any brands,
Yeah.
but I think it's also very important to get like inspiration from other brands, or just to see like what are they doing that we're maybe not doing right now. And it doesn't even have to be a lash brand. It could be like any brand in the
A
world.
makeup brand, it
A
could be a
makeup
beauty brand, it could
yeah.
be a skincare brand, it could be a clothing brand. It's like really anything. And it's really more so like, what is there something that like maybe we're lacking? Is there something that, people want to see that maybe we're just not putting enough of out there? Is there some, it's just, and where can we grow? Where
Yeah.
can we be better?
So I feel like sometimes you can look at like your slow weeks or your slow months as like a really negative thing, or you can build from it and look at it as a really positive thing and actually like change the mindset of your business and actually grow. You actually grow a lot in your slow months. For us, that's when we've worked on the most projects, got a lot done because we're like, okay, what are we not doing? Why are we slow right now? Like we need to figure this out. Let's do this, 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 and this, and let's grow and let's change this up. Like for example, we did a brown lash series. Not because we were slow or anything, but just because we felt very repetitive with our content that we were doing. And we're like, let's switch it up. Like, we need to figure out what we can do that's different. And we got our new brown lashes in, and we're like, okay, actually, let's do a series. We've never done one before. Let's see how that goes. And it went really well. So I honestly feel like it's a blessing in disguise when you have these slow weeks or slow months, because you can take it as like a learning lesson or encouragement to just figure out, what am I not doing that maybe somebody else is, that I can incorporate into my business that's going to help me grow a lot more.
Yeah, I think it definitely brings a lot of insight, and I think it essentially just encourages you, and it's sure it can be like a little uncomfortable, or like it's very human and very normal to still feel a little sad, or like a little like, oh, come on, like I wish it wasn't like this. But at the same time, yeah, I definitely think it allows way more creativity. And yeah, it's just a lot more brainstorming, a lot more just like which area could we be better in, which area can we grow. And I feel like sometimes without it, like I think sometimes it's needed,
It
you
is,
know?
because it points you in a direction where, for example, I feel like the best things come out of like your slow weeks, which I was talking about. And it's like, if I didn't have that slow week, that idea would have never come to my head.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like sometimes it's the universe giving me a slow week, because the universe is saying, no, but there's something that you need to figure out in this slow week.
Yeah.
And this is it. So I need to give you this slow week, and it's going to be okay. Everything's going to work out.
Yeah.
But you need to start on something specific, and you're not going to think of it until I give you a slow week. So here's
Yeah.
your slow week, and figure it out. And we usually do. We do a lot of brainstorming and thinking during these times. And I just like to think of it as a blessing in disguise instead of something that I'm super sad about, because obviously it's all about your perception. And if you change that and actually think of it as a good thing and think, how can I grow from this to make myself and my business better, you're going to find a lot of like different outlets that help you grow.
Yeah, and we're not saying like extreme, like you don't want we're not saying a slow week every single week going
Just,
forward, but
when you're a lash artist, like you'll have
Yeah.
a week that is normal for you, and then you'll have the next week where it's normal for you again. But then the next week after that, it's like, I'm having half the clients I had last week, but then the week after that, you're having double, because you didn't have so many clients the week before. And it's the same with us. Like, some weeks we have a lot of orders, then the next week we'll have half that, but then the next week we'll have double again because the week before was slow. It's like, it's never gonna be consistent, because you're running a business and not everybody's on the same time schedule to order things at the exact same time, and your clients aren't always going to be getting their lashes done every 2 weeks. Maybe it's going to be every 3 weeks for them for a month. So I think it's really important to keep that in mind, where just because you're slow one week, it doesn't mean your business is failing. It doesn't mean, it means nothing. It just means that there's time to grow and really reflect and see what you can do to help yourself grow. But also realize your next couple weeks might be crazy busy because you're making up for your slow week.
Yeah, I also think that it's really easy to become comfortable, and it's really easy to like, if you're not doing like extremely bad, but you're not, growing really, because you're pretty good at where you're at. I feel like it's just very like easy to become comfortable and static. And I feel like sometimes those slow weeks are to really kind of push you into looking at like what it is that you need to do to grow, because I feel like sometimes I can have moments where
You want to settle in your business.
yeah, especially when I was just doing lashes before Mavella. I had so many times where I wanted to grow and maybe start trainings or maybe start different things, but I just never looked into it because I was kind of just like good where I was at. But now I'm like, oh my God, thank God we did this. And sometimes I feel like those slow weeks are there to help you and like push you, or you'll kind of just stay where you're at forever.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I feel like. It'll just be like static. And some people are okay with that, and that's okay. If that's what you like and you just want to do that and like you're good and you're comfortable, you can. But I think especially with us running a business, it's like we obviously care for growth and getting.
And I think Mavella taught us that. Like, I feel like we're always reaching for more. Like, when I was just lashing, I was very comfortable. I was doing classic hybrid volume. I didn't really get into the wispy sets, the wet sets, the trending sets, because I was like, I'm doing good with where I'm at. My clients are coming back. I'm just not going to offer this. And I got into those sets more when I started Mavella. But starting Mavella and taking that leap of faith to actually start Mavella was huge. That was like the biggest thing we ever did. So everything after that kind of feels a little bit smaller. So when we want to start something new, for example, like the brown products that we decided to get in, there was a little bit of me that was like, but so many brands already started it like over a year ago. Like, we're a little bit late. But right away, I snap out of that mindset. I'm like, no, Like, we're still going to do it, and we're going to do it now, because if we don't, we're going to look back in 3 months and be like, why didn't I start it when I said I would? Because it's still popular, it's still growing. And I think with us, it's like after we started Mavella, we learned that we can do anything.
Yeah.
And we go for it. And I think it's such a great lesson that we've learned in life, because even with Mavella, we're also like, oh, like, should we own houses? Should we be landlords? Should we own property? Should we get into other things?
Should
Because
we get into Airbnb?
yeah, because you're not as scared when you start something bigger, or just even small, but it's big for you. For example, getting into wispy sets, if you only do classic, hybrid, or volume, you kind of like gain this mentality and mindset that you're invincible and you can do anything, because you're not going to fail.
And not in a cocky way,
No.
in a very
Yeah.
humble way. But I think it takes a very specific type of mindset.
It does.
And I think that's like, obviously we haven't gone to school or anything for this. And I think that's really what sets us apart is there's uncertainty and risk and fear, but we just go for it anyways. Like, we don't allow that to stop us. But I feel like generally people do.
Yeah, people do. And
Yeah.
I feel like it just takes that one thing to get the ball rolling,
Yeah.
and then nothing's going to stop you. Like Mavella, it took a lot of money. And I guess the very first thing you think of when you're starting a business like this and getting product in is, but what if it doesn't go well? And what if it all fails? And what if I just wasted all that money? But I think for me, I just think, but what if it doesn't? What if it goes great? What if we grow? What if we do amazing? What if we're one of the biggest lash brands ever to exist one day? Obviously, I think that's a goal for us. I think that's a goal for anybody who has their own business. They want to be the biggest. They want to be the best. You're so passionate about what you do, and that's not in a cocky way. It's just you get this mindset of, I want to grow and I want to keep growing and I want to provide the best of the best to everybody.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to love us because we love what we do.
Yeah.
And so for us, I feel like now with any opportunity that comes our way, we don't stall, we just jump on it, because I would rather at the end of the day look at that thing that we did and go, you know what, even if it doesn't work out, we still took the risk, and it'll teach us something different if it doesn't work out, and it's going to lead us to a different path if it doesn't work out, and everything happens for a reason. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise that we try it and it fails and it leads us to something else.
Yeah, and going back to like comparing, it's like I feel like there were times where we were like, oh, like, should we even do this or should we even do that because this brand has it or that person has it, and like, are people even gonna buy ours? Like, even when it came to starting Mavella, I think we were like, there's so many lash brands, like, we're entering such a like late time. I think even lash artists like wonder, like, if you want to take a lash course and a lash training and become a lash artist, I think everybody like
I
thinks
thought
about
when I did my lash course literally 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago, I was like, I'm a little too late, I don't think I should. It was barely even started. Like, I don't even know how I had that mindset. And
we had the same from Mavella, I feel.
We had the same from Mavella. We're like, oh, there's so many lash brands, like, maybe we shouldn't, because how do we even get ourselves out there? But honestly, it's consistency. As long as you're passionate about it and you love what you do, you're gonna grow. There's no way you honestly won't.
Yeah, and I think it's natural to compare yourselves.
It is. It's human.
Yeah.
But I think what we're trying to say is try to look at it from a different perspective. Instead of comparing yourself and your business or looking at your slow weeks, use it as motivation to keep going and actually figure out why is this, what is this slow week teaching me? That's what I like to say. What is this slow week teaching me, and what can I do to grow? So if you are someone who's comparing yourself a lot, or your business, or you're brand new and you're comparing yourself to somebody who has 5 years, 6 years experience, or if you're just starting a product line and just say you're comparing yourself to us, being like, oh my God, look at where they're at. Trust me, we started where you were, and the people we look up to started where you're at. And it's just a cycle of, you're never going to start and be big when you first start. You have to go through the phases of building a business. And we've been there and we felt that, and it's human. And I think we are at a place of acceptance, and we just accept it. Like, if we ever have these feelings, we talk to each other and we're like, I'm feeling a little discouraged, I'm feeling a little bit jealous, like human. And we talk to each other about it, and it's nice to have each other, because we can actually lean on each other and be like, you know what, it's okay. What can we do? Yeah,
I think we're able to also recognize, and like, we're very self-aware, and we know, like, I don't know, I think it is very easy, but it's nice because sometimes I have my like weak moments, and I think sometimes you do too, and we can kind of like, we kind of talk to each other and we go, no, but like this.
Don't
like,
worry, it's okay.
And like, and
so definitely find a person or an outlet to have, if you do feel these. It's definitely not good to keep those emotions inside if you are in that phase of like really comparing yourself or feeling like pretty low because you're not doing as good as somebody else, or you're having a slow week. Definitely talk to somebody about it, because we have each other.
Or even us.
Yeah.
DM us.
Yeah,
We'll
honestly.
literally respond to you. Like I feel like out of everybody we know exactly what this feels like.
Exactly.
Reach out to us, DM us, and we'll
Yeah.
we'll send you voice notes. We're very I feel like we're
We
very
help everybody,
personable.
yeah.
And just reach out to us,
Yeah.
even if it's like a shoe brand and you're starting a shoe brand, even if it's like
We can give some words of encouragement. Maybe we don't know
Yeah.
exactly how your business works, but we know the comparison feeling.
Yeah, we definitely know what it's like having to build and feeling discouraged and comparing and how am I going to make it in a world where there's so many shoe brands or phone case brands
Yeah.
or something.
Clothing
and
brands, whatever it
clothing
is.
brands,
Yeah.
we know what that feels like. So it's like you can always
Definitely
reach
reach
out to us.
out.
If you don't have
Yeah.
an outlet, we can be your outlet.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, what we're trying to say is it's human and it's
Yeah.
normal and it's a feeling everybody gets. I think the biggest of the biggest, they get this feeling too.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants to grow in business and they want to do really well. So always remember that you're human and it's okay to feel these things. And I think the best thing I can say is just come to acceptance with it. I just
Yeah.
when I have these feelings, I accept my feelings. And I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this. Let me feel it, but let me also work on how I can change my mindset to do better.
Exactly.